Hello and welcome to Narayana IAS Academy. I am Pratik, your faculty for Daily News Analysis. Now students, as part of our Daily News Analysis, we shall be discussing 5 important topics from the Hindu and the Indian Express. So let's have a quick brief for the topics that we shall be discussing in today's session. The first article is taken from Hindu page number 10. Now based on the outcome of the recently concluded general elections in India, the author of the article wants India to focus more on the proportional representation system or adopt the PR system and move away from the first past the post system. The second article is taken from Indian Express page number 10. Now the author of the article tries to highlight the fact that the rural economy is facing n number of challenges, and the author wants the new government to focus on the solution way forward, or for that matter schemes to overcome the challenges that the rural economy is facing. The third article is taken from Indian Express page number 14. Now given that the Agnipath scheme is facing challenges and opposition from the military veterans, this article tries to focus on what the Agnipath scheme is, the significance of the scheme and the challenges associated. The fourth article is taken from Hindu page number 15. Now this article focuses on a body in the name Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India. The fifth article is taken from Indian Express page number 1. Now this article focuses on a scheme. The name of the scheme is Pradhan Mantri Awaas Gramin Yojana. Right? So these are the 5 topics that we shall be discussing in today's DNA session. So let's get started, students. Students, the title of the first topic is it time for proportional representation? Now in this article, you need to understand the difference between proportional representation and first past the post system, and you can map this topic under GS paper 2, right? We have historical underpinnings, evolution features, and also comparison of Indian constitutional scheme with that of the other countries, right? Let's go through a previous year question which was asked in the year 2017, right? So in the election for Lok Sabha or State Assembly, the winning candidate must get at least 50% of the votes polled. The second one, the speaker's post goes to the majority party and the deputy speakers to the opposition, right? So please go through the 2 articles, try to revise your notes from Lakshmikant and try to attempt this particular question, right? Now, what is the context? Now, in the recently concluded elections, general elections in the year 2024 in India, the National Democratic Alliance, which is a coalition of BJP and other political parties like TDP, Janata Dal, they won 293 seats. But the vote share was 43.3%. The India bloc, which is a coalition bloc of Congress and other political parties like Trinamool Congress, Aam Aadmi Party, etc., they secured 234 seats with 41.6% vote share, right? So, and the other regional political parties and the independent candidates, they received 15% of the votes but only secured 16 seats. Now students, try to understand this. We have around 543 seats. 543 seats, right? For the sake of convenience, let's understand, or let's take 543 seats. Now out of 543 seats, the NDA, which got around 43.3%, has won 293 seats, which means less than 50% people have voted for NDA, but they are bagging more than the majority seats, more than 50% of the seats. They got less than 50% votes from people, but they are getting more number of seats. Same is the case with Congress, the India bloc. They have got 41%, but they are nearing to almost 50%, that is 233 seats. And if I talk about the opposition political, or for that matter the other regional political parties and independents, they have only secured 16 seats. They got 15% vote share from the people, but they only secured 16 seats. What does it state? Now, this highlights the disparity in the seat allocation relative to the vote share, which means here the seats are not as per the percentage of votes people have polled. There's a disparity. Same happened after independence in the first 3 elections, where the Congress won 75% of the seats, but the voting share was only 45 to 47%. This is the context. I hope you are understanding what the exact issue is. Now, in this context, let us try to understand first past the post system. Now, this is a method where the candidate with most votes in a constituency wins. So, let's say there is a constituency. In constituency, there are 1,000 people or 1,000 electorate. There are 3 candidates voting or contesting the election. A has got 250, B has got 200, and C has got 150, and rest of the votes are for nota. Which means this person has got the highest number of votes. Though it is less than 50%, but as he has got the highest number of votes, he will be declared as the winner. This is known as first past the post system, which we practice in our country, be it the national elections or the state elections or the local elections. It is used in US, UK and Canada. Now, this is very simple. It is simple and feasible in large countries like India, right? It provides stability. Why? Because here, like for example, the BJP did not get majority on its own. They got support from other political parties and have formed the government, which means there's a chance for more stability. But the article also notes that the first past the post system can lead to over or under representation of political parties. The regional political parties had got 15% vote share, but they only got 15 or 16 seats. So here, what we are seeing is under representation of political parties. I hope you understood what is first past the post system. Now we'll understand what is proportional representation, which means that it ensures parties are represented in proportion to their vote. Now here, for example, in the Lok Sabha elections, we elect the candidate, right? In the proportional representation system, we do not elect a candidate. We are actually voting a political party. For example, let's say Lok Sabha has around 500 seats, example, right? The BJP has got 40% seats, right? The Congress has got 45% seats and Aam Aadmi Party has got, let's say, 15% of seats. Which means out of 500, BJP will get 40% of 500. The Congress will get 45% of 500. And the Aam Aadmi Party will get 15% of 500. Which means exactly based on the vote share, they will be given the number of seats in the legislature. This is proportional representation, which we do not practice in our country, right? But there's a minimum threshold. Only a political party, if it gets 3 to 5% of the votes, only they get seats. For example, let's say a political party is getting just, let's say, 1%. They won't be given any seats in the legislature. I hope you understood what is proportional representation system. Now, so here, for example, in states like Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, the NDA won a significant majority of seats with high vote shares. The India bloc would have secured more seats under proportional representation. The author of the article tries to suggest that had India adopted the proportional representation, the India bloc would have got more number of seats in Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. The Biju Janata Dal, which lost the election in Odisha, they would have received more number of seats under proportional representation. In Tamil Nadu, where the India bloc won all the seats, they only got 47% of the vote share. Now, NDA and AIDMK also got some XYZ percentage of vote share, which means the author of the article tries to suggest that had India adopted the proportional representation, NDA and AIDMK who did not get seats in Tamil Nadu would have got seats because of proportional representation. I hope you understood what is first past the post and proportional representation system. What is mixed member proportional representation? It combines both first past the post and proportional representation. It balances the benefits of both the systems, right? For example, which is practiced in Germany and New Zealand, right? So here they use both. In some constituencies they use first past the post system, and in some constituencies they use proportional representation system. International practice, Countries like Brazil, Argentina, South Africa, Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, they use PR system. New Zealand, Germany, they use MMPR systems, right? Then let us try to understand the benefits of proportional representation, and then only we'll understand if proportional representation system should be adopted in our country, right? Now see, once we have the proportional representation, the political parties receive seats in the legislature that are proportionate. Like for example, as I told you, the regional political parties got 15%. Now under PR system, the regional political parties would have 15% of seats in the Lok Sabha, which means here under PR system, even the smaller parties get represented. That is the biggest advantage of proportional representation system. That is smaller political parties, the minority groups. For example, now Muslims are around 17% of our population, but the representation is not in 5% in Lok Sabha. It means that once we adopt proportional representation, even smaller political parties and minority groups will have representation in the Lok Sabha. Under the PR system, smaller parties have a chance of winning seats. Now, in the current system, first past the post system, these smaller parties do not have any chance of winning. For example, Aam Aadmi Party, it just got 2 seats in Lok Sabha. So, smaller political parties will never get significant seats. Now, having this system will actually encourage a diverse and multi-party system, which means we'll have a multi-party system in the legislature, in the Lok Sabha, which means the pluralism principles would be implemented in letter and spirit. Now, in first past the post system, many votes can be wasted. For example, as I told you in this example, right? Now, A person will be declared as winner. So, these votes are actually getting wasted. But in the proportional representation, this won't happen, right? So, B or the other political party, the second political party, based on the vote share, they will get that many seats in the legislature, which means in the proportional representation, the seats won't be wasted. But the critics say that the PR system, it includes potential instability. Why? Because we have multiple political parties and that would lead to potential instability, which means because of PR system, every small group. Now, India is such a diverse country. Now, looking at the Indian society, there will be so many people or so many groups that will form their own political parties. Now, these smaller political parties would be based on the parochial or narrow interests like religion, caste, reservation, etc. Right? So, this is one of the critics of the proportional representation system. Right? Now, way forward, the Law Commission's 170th report from 1999, it recommended experimenting the MMPR system, which means it recommended that 25% of the seats could be filled through PR system and 75% could be filled through the current first past the post system. This is what Law Commission had recommended in the year 1999. Now, the upcoming delimitation exercise, once the 2026 census will be completed, it presents an opportunity for our country to adopt both the proportional as well as first past the post system. This will also ensure balanced representation with federal principles, which means the interests of the states will also be represented in the parliament. I hope students you understood the article, right? Students, the title of the next topic is the message from rural India, right? Now, in this article, you need to understand the agriculture sector and the challenges that the rural economy is facing, and you can map this topic under paper 3, right? That is economic development, agriculture. So, a question was asked in the year 2015 in the UPSC CSE examination. The question was, what are the main constraints in transport and marketing of agriculture produce in India? This was a question asked in the year 2015. So, for that, we need to understand the challenges that the rural economy is facing, right? Now, what is the context? The context is that in the recently concluded election, the current dispensation, that is the BJP-led government, did not get enough seats in the rural India. Right? The author of the article tries to suggest that because of the way the current government ignored the challenges that the rural economy was facing, the rural people have given a message by not giving votes, which are the challenges that the people were going through, based on which they decided not to vote for the current government. For example, so having fears of constitutional changes to change the constitution, or for that matter, the caste and religious issues, issues like reservation, then economic factors like unemployment, high inflation, crony capitalism, then the widening inequalities, then the promises of freebies to women and youth. All these factors or issues did not appeal to the people of rural India, and that's the reason the BJP government did not get enough seats in the rural India, right? And that's the reason with the new government or new coalition government coming into picture or forming the government, it is important for the new coalition government to focus on the rural economy. Now, let's try to focus on challenges one by one. The first challenge is the low agricultural growth rate. Right? Now, in the financial year 2024, the growth in agriculture was just 1.4%. So, if we compare with the overall GDP growth, which was 8.2%, agriculture contributed only 1.4%. Now, this is alarming. Why? Given that around 45% of the Indians, 45% of Indians depend on agriculture. The next one is stagnant. Average per capita monthly expenditure in rural areas is 3,773 in the year 2022 and 2023. So the family monthly expenditure comes out to be 16,600 rupees. Now this number, given the inflation rate, it indicates low income levels. So all these facts you can mention in your mains answer. Then the third one is high dependency on agriculture. As I pointed out that around 45% of Indians are dependent on agriculture, right? Now here you see that a significant population is dependent on agriculture, but the growth in that sector is not proportionate to the number of people who are dependent on agriculture. And this is leading to economic stagnation for many rural families. The next is the impact of climate change. Now, because of the climate-induced extreme weather events, like for that matter heat waves or flash floods, it affects the agriculture productivity. And that's the reason we need to focus on climate-friendly solutions so as to mitigate the adverse impact of climate-induced weather events. The fourth challenge. The fifth challenge is insufficient rural infrastructure. Now, despite the fact that Government of India has launched many schemes or initiatives like Pradhan Mantri Awaas Yojana, Har Ghar Nal Se Jal, right? Somehow the infrastructure is not adequate, which means the existing infrastructure is not able to boost economic activities, right? The continued low income levels and stagnating real wages indicate that the existing infrastructure is not sufficient to catalyze the economic growth, which means the existing infrastructure is not helping the people to improve their standards of living. These are the five challenges that you can mention in your mains answer in case you get a question over the challenges the rural India or the rural economy is facing. These are the five challenges. What about the solution? The first one is we need to diversify the employment. Given that 45% of people are dependent on agriculture and agriculture not growing, which means we have to move the people from agriculture to higher productivity and non-farm jobs. Either it can be in the rural infrastructure projects or we have to move them to the urban areas. And for the very same, the Government of India has to invest massively in the skill formation and training, as what the industries in the urban areas require. The next is shift in agriculture focus. Now, rather than focusing on basic staples like jawar, wheat, etc., the farmers need to have incentives, or the Government of India has to provide incentives for the farmer to adopt high value agriculture like poultry, fishery, dairy, fruits and vegetables. But this, for the farmers to move from the basic staples to this high yielding agriculture crops, the Government of India has to ensure that there has to be fast moving logistics and a value chain approach, as we got to see in India with the Amul model for the production of milk. right? So this is the second solution. And then we have to invest in the climate smart agriculture. Given that the climate is affecting the agriculture productivity, we have to invest in climate smart agriculture. For example, we can mention such examples in the exam. Agrovoltaics. Now here, the solar energy can be used as a third crop for farmers. So here we are harnessing the energy coming from the sun, which can also provide monthly income or additional income to the farmers. So these are the solutions that you can mention in the examination. Talking about the initiatives the government of India has undertaken. For example, we have the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Now this Fasal Bima Yojana tries to cover the crops in case the crops get damaged or destroyed because of natural calamities like floods, or for that matter, the pests attack, etc. Then we have the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Now, in order to improve the water use efficiency, the government is focusing on the irrigation storage. For example, here you see that the government is focusing on irrigation storage with the help of rainwater harvesting, groundwater development, and promoting micro irrigation techniques, right? Like the sprinkler irrigation, etc. Then we have the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi. Now, this provides income support to all the land holding farmers. For example, every year the government provides 6,000 rupees, or the government deposits this amount in the bank accounts of every land holding farmer in 3 installments, each installment of 2,000 each. And then we have the ENAM. Now, ENAM is a unified national market for agriculture commodities, which means in order to fetch better price for the agriculture crops or agriculture products, this ENAM helps the farmers, traders, so that the farmers can sell it to whoever is giving the farmer more money, right? So here you see it facilitates farmers, traders and buyers with a common platform. So here we have a common platform, which means the existing APMC mandis are being integrated, right? So these are some of the schemes that you can mention in the examination. And finally, it is very important that in order to overcome the challenges that the rural economy is facing, the government of India has to focus or have a holistic approach, which means that combines moving away people from the basic staples to high-yielding agriculture crops, or for that matter, moving people away from agriculture to urban areas. And for that, the government has to focus on skill development, diversification of agriculture and climate smart practices, right? So by implementing these solutions, we can ensure a sustainable economic growth, improved living standards and increase resilience of the rural population. This can overall benefit our national development. I hope students you understood the article. Students, the title of the next topic is Agnipath scheme, why it was introduced, the opposition to it, right? Then important in this article is to understand Agnipath scheme, Indian Armed Forces, and you can map this under prelims as well as GS paper 3, that is security. So let's try to understand a previous question asked in the year 2016. The terms hot pursuit and surgical strikes are often used in connection with armed action against terrorist attacks. So discuss the strategic impact of such actions. So please try to find the meaning of the word hot pursuit and surgical strikes, and once you go through the intersecting subject, you will be in a position to address such type of questions. Context. What is the context? That the Agnipath scheme, which was launched by the current government, has been met with resistance from the political parties and also the military veterans. It's been 2 years the Agnipath scheme has been launched, and here we get to see that it is being criticized. The Agnipath scheme is an initiative by the central government for recruiting individuals into the Indian Armed Forces, which means here the individuals are recruited in the Indian Armed Forces, which is comprising of the Army, Navy and Air Force. The tenure is 4 years. Again, all these terms are very, very important for the pre-examination. Now, based on the recommendation of the Kargil Committee, Kargil Review Committee post the Kargil War, the scheme proposes a short service duration of 4 years compared to the traditional 15 to 20 years. So here, the duration of the service is shortened to 4 years. What is the objective? To push the motivated and patriotic people to serve the Indian Armed Forces for a period of 4 years. Now the people who are part of this scheme will be known as Agniveers. Eligibility is 17.5 and 23 years. All these points are very, very important for the pre-examination, and the people who will be placed under Agnipath scheme will get or can apply for ranks below the officer level. So this also very, very important. Now retention, now post the period of 4 years, only 25% people would be given a service for a longer duration, right? So now these people, once they complete 4 years, the 25% people will be given a longer duration service of 15 years under permanent commission. So 4 years would comprise 6 months of trainings and 3.5 years of service. Compensation, starting salary will be 30,000, and by the time they complete 4 years, their salary will be 40,000. Now 30% of the salary will be contributed to Seva Nidhi program. Similar percentage the government will contribute, and once the period of 4 years will be completed, the Agniveers will be taking home 11.7 lakh rupees. What is the significance? Youthful forces. Now the current average years or the average age of the people who are serving in the Indian Armed Forces is 32 years. Now with the Agnipath scheme, it is going to be shortened to around 27, 28 years. Leaner force, the permanent commission will have less number of people or less number of members serving the Indian Armed Forces. Financial efficiency. Now as the service duration has been shortened, the government or the liability of the government in terms of pensions will be saved, and this money the government can use it for modernization of the Indian Armed Forces, which means the liabilities of the government will be reduced. Skill enhancement. So younger recruits are typically easier to train with new technologies. Why? Because they can learn new technologies very easily. Then employment process. Now the Agniveers, once they complete 4 years, they will be in the position to get job almost in any of the opportunities or vacancies. So, or the employers will prefer such Agniveers who have served the Indian Armed Forces. Buffer force. So, in case in future, let's say India, there's a war between India and let's say China or Pakistan, this force or this Agniveers can be used as buffer whenever there's a war against a country. And then global trend. Now, this Agniveer scheme or Agnipath scheme, it aligns with international trends in military reform. Every country is reforming their military arsenal. And here, this Agnipath scheme, it aligns with international practices, which means here what we're trying to do is we're downsizing the personnel, and the money that we save, we are using it for the advanced weaponry. I hope students have understood the article. Students, the title of the next topic is RDAI takes more steps for health. Right? In this article, you need to understand about a statutory body called Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. And you can map this under GS paper 2, that is statutory, regulatory and quasi-judicial bodies. The previous year question was asked in the year 2012. Please go through the question and try to see if you're in a position to attempt this question. Context. Now, this article tries to highlight or talk about the insurance scheme. So, what is this insurance scheme? So, for example, let's say I take a policy from, let's say, LIC. Now, I'm taking a policy from the LIC. Now, whenever I need to be admitted in a hospital or whenever I meet with an accident, I go to the hospital, right? Now, the hospital will admit me and I don't have to pay any amount. Why? I just show the policy that I have taken from LIC, right? Now, the hospital will take this money from the LIC company. So, I buy this policy, let's say the premium amount varies from 3,000 to 30, 50,000. Based on my capacity, I pay the premium amount. Then I just go to the hospital, show the policy, and the hospital will bear all the expenses. The company will bear all the expenses on my behalf. Or let's say at times I need to pay the amount to the hospital, and once I am discharged, I collect all the receipts, I submit it to the company and I claim the money. And then I get the money from the company. This is how insurance scheme is all about, right? Now here in this context, it is mentioned that IRDAI, which is the regulatory body of all the insurance companies. So this body regulates all the insurance companies. They implemented new measures aimed to improve the health insurance scheme process and hospitalization coverage. So again, given that the policy holders like we, the common people, were facing difficulties, IRDAI has implemented new changes. Which are this? Let's try to understand. Now, failure to pay renewable premium on time, right, previously required starting a new policy with all waiting periods and potential coverage denial. Now, with respect to insurance, whenever you buy the policy and whenever you renew it, right, the benefit that was added in the first year gets added to the next year. And in case you used to fail paying the premium or you fail to renew your account, all the benefits that you accrued or collected used to go waste. At times it happens that people can or might forget to pay the premium. But here now, so the insurance companies used to deny all the potential benefits or coverage to the policy holder. Why? Because he failed to pay the renewable amount on time. Now, the IRDA has given a grace period of 1 month, which means the policy holders, people like us, can pay or renew the policy within 1 month. It prevents immediate termination of coverage. And let's say, for example, in this 1 month grace period, let's say you meet with an accident and you get admitted to the hospital. Even in this 1 month grace period, the company has to bear all the expenses of the policy holder. Second, the body mandates insurers to authorize cashless treatments within 1 hour for accidents or emergencies, which means here, let's say you meet with an accident, within 1 hour, your claim gets approved, which means you don't have to pay any amount, right? You'll be taken to the hospital just by showing the policy, your policy card. You will be admitted to the hospital without paying a single rupee. The company will pay all the money, right? For that, you have to pay the premium for that, right? Then streamline and fasten the process. The new regulations or the new changes brought by the IRDAI requires insurers to approve cashless claims within 3 hours of hospital discharge notification. So let's say, for example, you have paid the money to the hospital. Now, once you get discharged, within 3 hours, you have to claim the amount that you pay to the hospital, right? Now, let us try to understand what is IRDAI. Now, this can be asked in the examination, right? Now, it's a statutory body, which means a law was passed in the parliament, and this is how this body came into being. Then, the headquarters is in Hyderabad. What does it do? It supervises, promotes and develops the insurance sector in India, which means it regulates all the insurance companies in a country so that no insurance companies, they betray the policy holders. The nodal ministry is the Ministry of Finance. Now, this body is a 10-member body. It has a chairman, 5 full-time members and 4 part-time members appointed by the Government of India, right? Now, what are the functions of IRDAI? As I told you, it regulates the insurance industry so that the insurance companies do not betray the trust of the policy holders on the company. Then it registers and regulates the insurance companies. It also registers all the companies. Next, it licenses and establishes norms for the insurance intermediaries like the brokers, agents, etc. Then it promotes professional organization in insurance. It regulates and oversees the premium rates. It also ensures that the premium rates are not high for the common person to afford it. And then specifying financial reporting norms of insurance companies. And these are the entities regulated by IRDAI. One is the life insurance companies. It can be both public as well as private. Then the general insurance companies, which have standalone health insurance companies, which offer health insurance companies like the reinsurance companies and the agency channel. And then we have the intermediaries like the third party administrators, the brokers, agents. You must have seen that these people come to your house, they try to convince you to buy the policy, etc. All these entities are covered by the IRDAI. So this can be asked in the examination. I hope students you understood the article. Students, the title of the next topic is on cabinet table approval of 2 crore PM Awaas Gramin houses with more assistance. So we need to understand Pradhan Mantri Awaas Yojana in this article, right? You can map this under GS paper 2. A previous question asked in the year 2015, smart cities in India cannot sustain without smart villages, right? So this is the question that was asked in the year 2015. Now it is a context. Now, as part of its first 100-day agenda, the newly formed NDA government is poised to approve an additional 2 crore houses under the Pradhan Mantri Awaas Yojana Gramin. So here under this scheme, the government constructs houses. So what is the scheme? The implementing ministry is the Ministry of Rural Development. All these points are very, very important for your pre-examination. Right? Then there is an urban component which is handled or looked after by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. So these two ministries, please remember. Second, this scheme was started in the year 1996 as part of Indira Awaas Yojana. It was restructured after the BJP government formed in 2014. It was restructured in the year 2016 to address gaps such as lack of transparency, low quality houses and the weak monitoring as identified by CAG. What is the objective? To provide a Pakka house with basic amenities to all the households, houseless households and those living in Kacha and the dilapidated buildings by 2022. It was extended further until December 31, 2024. 1 crore households living in Kacha dilapidated buildings will be covered as part of this particular scheme. Again, the house size would be increased to 25 square meter from 20. Financial assistance increased from 70,000 to 1.20 lakh. And here the ratio will be 60-40. 60 the central government would contribute, 40 the state governments. For northeastern states, it's going to be 90:10. Right? So all these points are very important for your pre-examination. Toilet construction, and then these are the additional amenities under Pradhan Mantri Awaas Gramin Yojana. Right? So beneficiary, now based on deprivation parameters in socio-economic caste census 11, this will be verified by Gram Sabha. So who will be getting these houses? One, it is with the, or a household is deprived if it is with a Kacha house, it is without an adult member in working age, it is headed by a woman, it is without an adult male in working age, it is with a disabled member, and last is scheduled caste and scheduled tribe without literate adults over 25 years, and last is it is landless engaged in man. These are the parameters on the basis of which people will be getting house, right? And then this is again very, very important. Under this scheme, there will be establishment of National Technical Support Agency and a nationwide training and certification program for the masons. Right? And then the other aspects being, there will be end-to-end governance model using Awaas Soft and Awaas app with monitoring through community participation, social audit and member of parliament committee. Right? So this one, please try to remember the name of the application and the Awaas software. Right? So this is all about the article. I hope you understood the article. Students, now it's time to discuss prelims practice questions. So let's get started. Question number 1. This is with respect to first past the post and PR system. Now, under the first past the post, the candidates who secures the most votes in a constituency is declared elected. Rear correct. PR system ensures that parties get seats in proportion to their overall vote share. Yes, this is correct. The FTPT system is used in countries like Brazil. No, it's used in countries like UK, India. So this one is incorrect. Mixed member proportional representation is a combination. Yes. So 1, 3, 1, 2 and 4. B is the correct answer. Very simple question. Next, the Pradhan Mantri Awaas Yojana Gramin. It was launched to address the gaps identified in the Indira Awaas. Yes, exactly. It was restructured in 2016. It is implemented by Ministry. Wrong. It is implemented by Ministry of Rural. This is incorrect. The finance assistance under the Pradhan Mantri Awaas is the same for both plain areas and northeastern. No, it is different. Right? For northeastern, it is 90:10. For plain, 60:40. Beneficiaries selected under the Yojana is based on housing deprivation parameters. Yes, so 1 and 4 has to be the correct answer. Option A is the correct answer. Question number 3, with reference to Agnipath scheme, consider the following statement. The scheme applies to the Indian Army and Navy but not to the Air Force. Wrong. It applies to Navy, Air Force and Army. Candidates aged between 18 and 23. Wrong. It is 17.5. Even this one is incorrect. It allows 50% of the recruits to serve an additional 15 years. Wrong. It is 25%. So all the 3 statements are incorrect. So it has to be option D. 4th, consider the following: private life, general, reinsurance, third party. Which of the following entities are regulated by IRDAI? All the 4 are regulated. So option D has to be the correct answer. Very easy question. Next, with reference to IRDAI, it is non-statutory. Wrong. It is a statutory body. It was formed by passing a law in the parliament. It is a 11-member body. Wrong. It is a 10-member body. So both the statements are incorrect, which means option D has to be the correct answer. Now let's discuss a means-based question. The rural economy in India faces multiple challenges, including low agriculture growth, stagnant rural incomes, and climate change-induced vulnerabilities. Critically analyze the effectiveness of recent schemes, right? So again, here you need to start your answer by introduction. In the introduction, you have to mention how rural economy is important for the overall national growth or overall GDP, right? So in the body of the answer, you have to start by highlighting the challenges that the rural sector is facing. That is low growth in the agriculture sector, then the stagnant rural incomes, then the climate-induced problems like the floods and heat waves. So these are the issues that you have to mention, right, in the body. Then you also need to mention the schemes launched by the government of India, like the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, Pradhan Mantri. So Fasal Bima Yojana, it covers the crops in case any natural calamities destroys the crops. Then Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, here this helps for the irrigation purpose, right? Or for that matter, the water use efficiency is enhanced through this scheme. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi. Now this will boost the incomes of the farmers. 6,000 is deposited every year. eNAV will provide a platform for the farmers, the consumers, the traders, right? And then you can mention that despite that the government of India has launched so many initiatives, the adequate infrastructure or the infrastructure existing is not adequate to boost the economic activities. And then finally in the solution, you have to mention that we have to focus for diversification of employment. We have to invest heavily in the skill development. Then shift in agriculture focus from staple diet to highly productive crops like fruits, vegetable, poultry, etc. And then investment in the agriculture, smart agriculture. So this is the solution that you can provide. And then in the conclusion, you can mention that it is very important that we adopt a holistic approach to overcome the challenges the rural economy is facing. I hope since you understood how to write the means-based answer. And that's it from our daily news analysis students. I hope you understood all the 5 articles that we have discussed in today's DNA session. Students, if you want us to continue with our DNA session, then please do like, share and subscribe Narayana IAS. Thank you so much.